Hi, I'm Mikaela, and this is Love Mikaela, a podcast where I talk about literally anything and everything I want to. Recently, I talked about the K drama True Beauty, and it got me kind of thinking and made me want to talk about my thoughts on beauty and beauty standards. This is going to be a shorter episode. It's going to be a more surface level conversation, not conversation because we're not really talking to each other, but more surface level thoughts on beauty. I haven't personally dug in depth into beauty, and now I would really like to. So things like how proximity to whiteness, how white supremacy, how colonization, like how all of those things have affected beauty. That's not something that I'm gonna dig into. So I will, but like here, I'm not gonna dig into it. I just haven't done that research yet, and I realized that I'd really like to. So my thoughts now might be different from thoughts I have later after doing more research on this, but I thought it would be nice to kind of document my thoughts on it now at least and where they are now. Um, yeah, so that's kind of my disclaimer. Um, just kind of my thoughts for right now. Thoughts can change, but these are my thoughts for now. Um, I'm gonna start with what is beauty to me. Oh, also this is gonna be a more rambly one probably, but I do have notes, so hopefully it's not too rambly. Anyway, okay, what is beauty to me? I'm going to start with some definitions that I found online, and then I'll talk about like my personal idea. It is a combination of qualities such as shape, color, or form that pleases the aesthetic senses, especially the sight. And then I continued looking, and I found quote unquote a definition for true beauty, which is true beauty is a concept that extends beyond physical appearance and encompasses qualities such as kindness, compassion, authenticity, and inner strength. It is a reflection of a person's character, values, and personality rather than just their external features. So, those are the definitions I found online. To me, beauty is kind of undefinable and it's more of like a feeling, I guess. Um, it's like the feeling you get when you see or feel or hear or touch something that's like pleasing to you. It's something that makes you feel like warm and fuzzy inside, or something that takes your breath away, or something that makes you like kind of marvel at the fact that like you're alive and this is life and this is all real and it's not just a dream. Like, wow, I can't believe this is real life. Like, those kind of feelings are like beauty to me, and dreams can be beautiful too. So it's kind of like beauty can be lots of different things and also nothing at the same time, which is complicated. It's more like a feeling and it's undefinable. The same way I feel about like words like love or hate or fear, like those, it would be hard for me to describe like with a definition. I feel like I can define them in terms of like things that make me feel that way, or moments that I've felt that way, but beauty is similar to those things to me. So to me, it's undefinable. I gave you definitions of stuff I found online, and maybe it says more about me, like as a person and a human, and how my brain works than it does about what beauty is. That's the way I can define it. But yeah, it's like more of a feeling than anything. And I think that because it's more of a feeling, at least in my opinion and how I would define it, there isn't really anything you can find, anything or anyone that you can find that is like an absolute beauty, like something that every single person everywhere on earth would 100% find beautiful. Even if you take something like a sunset, a lot of people think sunsets are beautiful, but I'm sure that there's someone out there that you could find who is uncomfortable with it, or like they associate different feelings with it, and so it's not beautiful to them, or they have bad memories around sunsets, stuff like that. Like, there's always going to be someone out there who finds something uncomfortable and therefore they find it not beautiful. Not that those are interchangeable and equal to each other, just like that's just an example I'm giving. Um, so I don't think that there's something that every single person everywhere will find beautiful. I just don't think that that's a possible thing, personally. Um, and I also think like when it comes to people, you can find someone attractive and not think that they like, no, let me reword it. You can this is what I mean. You can be attracted to someone and not find them attractive, and you can also find someone attractive but not be attracted to them, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it's a feeling that's directly connected to love, like be like finding someone attractive. I don't think that's directly connected to love. I think it's kind of its own thing. Like there's plenty of celebrities that I think are attractive, but like I'm not attracted to them, right? Or there's like you could be attracted to someone and then not find them, at least at the start, like attractive or beautiful in your own, like whatever your standards are for that. Like I can think of countless times where obviously this isn't real life, but like where I've watched a show and I haven't found, like in the beginning, the first few episodes, I'm like, oh, the actor they picked for this show isn't really my type. I don't really find them that attractive. Um, and then as the which one, other people definitely found them attractive because they're the lead of the show, and two, like as the show goes on, you then become attracted to them and you're like, oh, actually I find this thing about them attractive, or I find this thing about them attractive, and now I'm attracted to them. Like not actually, but like just an example, like you can be attracted to someone and not find them attractive, at least at first. I think eventually you'll probably find parts of them attractive and then that will fully make them attractive to you, but you can also find someone attractive and not be attracted to them. Like it's just, it's complicated. I think it's really complicated is what I'm getting at. um that goes to say that beauty, it's a cliche, but it's true. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I've talked about this before when I was talking about true beauty. Like, truly, anyone can be beautiful to anyone else in the same way that truly anyone could not be beautiful to anyone else. Like, every single person is going to have different opinions on the matter. Can those opinions cross? Sure. But I don't think that it's possible that there's an absolute that every single person finds beautiful. I just don't think that that's possible. That might be a contradiction in and of itself, um because never is kind of an absolute itself, but I don't want to think about it too hard. um I also think that beauty standards vary by country and region and how you grow up and who you grow up around and the people you see and the media. And so it makes sense that people would have different definitions of what their beauty standard is. Um, this is one of the like obviously representation in the media is really really important because because everyone deserves. I'm reading what I wrote and I'm like, this is really good and I don't want to mess it up, but I'm also trying to like just speak off the cuff a little bit. um Representation is important because it's important that everyone feels seen and heard and like their story is being told and that they feel understood. But I think another fallout from us not having enough diverse representation in the media is that you might not find people who look like you attractive unless you like actively seek that out in different media that isn't natural to your location. That was a convoluted way to say it. Basically, this is my just concrete example of it. When I started watching East Asian media and entertainment, not Western entertainment, when that was all that I had had growing up, once I started watching Korean dramas, Japanese dramas, Chinese dramas, Thai dramas, when I started watching media that didn't originate in the country or in a white-centric, Anglo-centric, are those the same thing? Probably not. Listen, I'm doing my best here. In a country that isn't white-centric is probably the best way to put it. When I started watching media that came from a place other than that, my idea of beauty and what I found attractive changed. It did. You might not think that media representation is important for multiple reasons, but like I said, the reasons, like obviously of course it's important because we want our own stories to be told. We want to be like, we want to feel seen, we want to feel heard, we want to feel understood. But the other aspect of that is, like, as not great as it is to say it, but we should admit it and like think about it, is the fact that media has a good grip on like what culturally is seen as beautiful, what beauty standards are, media is a tight grip on what that can be. So if Western media is what's kind of ruling the world and there isn't representation of other people and diversity in that, then it's harder for people to find beauty in that diversity and people who aren't like them. Um, Growing up, like I said, I watched only Western media, which was very white centric. It had mostly white people in it, if not only white people in it. And growing up, my crushes were all people who were white. And I didn't grow up in a community that only had white people. Was it predominantly white? Yeah, pretty much. But there's a large Latinx community, there's a large East Asian community where I grew up. Um, but most of the people that I found attractive, like even in my daily life, were people who were white because that was what I saw on TV and what was portrayed to me as being attractive was people who were white because that's what media was focusing on, right? When I started watching media that wasn't white centric, like K dramas and J dramas, Chinese dramas, Thai dramas, when I started watching all of that, I was like, oh, no, this is beautiful too. Um, and I started to find more Asian men attractive, which is kind of sad to say, but like I'll admit it. Like I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not someone who's affected by the propaganda that exists in the media and in entertainment. I'm not like what's the word? Um Invulnerable, not susceptible. It's not like I'm not susceptible to any of that propaganda. Like I am. Most of us are, if not all of us are. I would say all of us are, but maybe not. That's probably not a safe thing to say. A good majority of people are susceptible to it, and I'm one of them. I'm not afraid to admit that. Um, but like thinking about it, it's like, oh, your standards for beauty can change when you're presented with other avenues and other opportunities to find other things that you weren't used to beautiful. Um, and of course, that's not the only, like, media isn't the only reason I have those views, right? I'm half white. My upbringing has a big part of things. The people that I was with in terms of like friend groups and things like that, that has a big part of things, right? You know, but it's just funny that your standards for these things can change when you open yourself up to other avenues, other people, other cultures, other things. It just really kind of emphasized to me how influenced you can be on what you find beautiful, but how different that those things can be, like how different your standards for beauty can be depending on what you were influenced by. I just think that that's really interesting, and it really does go to show like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so who you are, how you grew up, what you grew up around, all of those things can influence what you find beautiful, which means something that you find so beautiful, someone you find incredibly attractive, incredibly beautiful, could be the ugliest person that someone from another culture and a different upbringing could see, right? Like these are, it's so different. It can be so different for everyone. I think that that's so interesting and comforting, kind of in a way. um I think also that when beauty, like this is just, again, these are all surface level thoughts. I'm not going too deep into things. Maybe I'm going a little deep, but like not as deep as I could be going. Just because I personally haven't gone that deep yet in my own research. But I think that there's a lot of talk about beauty everywhere, and I've also just come across some people who are like, beauty needs to be abolished, like it's not needed, it's not necessary. Um, I haven't done as much research as those people have, so maybe my thoughts will be more aligned with theirs after I've done more research on it. I don't know. But for now, my thoughts are that when beauty becomes harmful, that's when you don't need it anymore. That's when it's like, oop, that's enough, draw the line. There can always be too much or too little of something. Too much of a good thing, that's a saying, right? Too much of a good thing can be harmful or something like that. I don't know. If you have too much of anything, it can be harmful. Even water. We all know this, or I would like to think we all know this. I think it's the same with beauty. I think too much of it, or if you're too focused on it, or it becomes too central in your life, it's harmful. When it becomes harmful, you don't need it anymore. It's not a necessary thing. It's like an extra added thing that you can have in your life. Um, beauty standards themselves can be very harmful. The media I consumed, like the more media I consumed, the more I was comparing and judging myself to the media I was watching. And although I feel like I'm a special case, because of the career path that I've chosen, like I want to be an actor, I'm literally putting myself on camera in front of you. Like I do my makeup all pretty, I do my hair, I mean mostly. Today I was pretty simple. I like pick an outfit that I think is gonna look nice. Like I think about all those things when I'm making videos and stuff like this. When I'm editing, like I'll be like, oh, I hate that my hair looked like that. It looks weird here. So while I do think that I'm kind of a special case, especially because I want to be an actor, like, because people will say, oh, the people you see that are actors, like, they're really pretty, but like it's their job to be pretty, and they have enough money that they can pay for someone to help them, like, have a personal trainer and have a dietitian. Like, some people can do that, yes, but there's also lots of normal people like me who are actors and then who still look that beautiful. So like I compare myself a lot, so I'm not gonna say like I'm completely above all of it, and there are definitely times where like I need to let beauty go because it's harmful. But it's never good to compare yourself to other people, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and everyone's going to find beauty, beauty in other things that you won't see beauty in, and you'll see beauty in things that other people won't see beauty in. Um it's just not good to compare yourself. um when I was first consuming a lot of media, again, I was mostly watching like Western media, and so I don't fit Western beauty standards. I just don't. I'm half white and I'm half Japanese. There we go. So I'm not gonna fit Western beauty standards because I don't look fully one thing, right? But then when I started to consume more like Asian media, more J dramas, more C dramas, more K dramas, those kinds of things, I didn't fit East Asian beauty standards either. Because I'm not going to. It's not gonna happen, girly. Talking to myself, it's not gonna happen. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna fit one or the other because I'm both. It is what it is. Like, I can't. There's not anything I can do about it. Um. So those things, like when you're like, oh, I don't fit this. It's hard. It's difficult, and that's when it's doing more harm than good, and you don't need it. You don't need it. It's not necessary. Um. But I think it's important to, instead of focusing on someone else's standards for beauty or a whole culture's standards for beauty, it's more important to discover what your own definition and your own standards for beauty are, and to find the things about yourself that you find beautiful. You don't have to fit all your own beauty standards. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you can. If you can't, who cares? Find the few things that you find beautiful about yourself. Find your own definition of beauty. Maybe your own definition of beauty is there is no such thing as beauty, and it doesn't matter, and it's not important. And maybe that's where I'll be later after I've done more research on everything. I don't know. But there's plenty of things that you may find beautiful that you need to take a minute and sit with yourself and be like, I have beauty. There's so many little things about me that you can find beauty in, and I'm going to sit and take some time to do that. I think it's important. I think it's really important to find beauty in yourself and to not rely on others to feel beautiful. If beauty is something you want to center in your life, not fully center. Don't ever fully center beauty. I feel like that's crazy. But if you want to have, if you want to think about beauty in your life, I think it's important to find the beauty in yourself and not rely on like external validation from others that you're beautiful. I think you need to find it yourself, within yourself. Because if you're constantly looking for it outside of yourself, you're going to drive yourself nuts. And you're going to find more things not beautiful about yourself than you find things that are beautiful about yourself. And your definition of beauty is not going to be the same as anyone else's definition of beauty. And I think it's important that within your definition of beauty, you can fit yourself, sort of. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. You're never going to check all of the boxes for all people. It's just not possible. It's just not, because beauty standards are different everywhere you go. And even someone may be the opposite of, like, there may be someone who goes against the grain in terms of what they believe beauty standards are, but their beauty standards might match up with beauty standards in some other region of some other place. Or they might not. And even if you kind of go along with beauty standards of multiple places, there's never going to be like, there could be someone who fits the beauty standards of like a place that you live or a place that you admire that you don't find beautiful or you don't find attractive personally. you can't ever check all of the boxes for all of the people of what people find or define as beautiful. You can find the things that make you feel beautiful about yourself. Again, I think beauty is a feeling. If you feel beautiful, whether you fit someone else's definition of beauty externally or not, or internally, that doesn't matter. If you feel it, then you are it. That's what I think. Is beauty important? I think it is as important as you want it to be. So whether it's about yourself or what you look for in a partner or in the world, I think it's as important to you as you're gonna make it. That is definitely easier said than done when we're surrounded by beauty standards and products that are pushed at us to make us more beautiful, especially for women, but for men too, and non-binary people as well. There's definitely a push by corporations because they've realized that like you can make more money if you tell people like they need this to be beautiful. Or I think something that is in a lot of people's term like definition of beauty that maybe people don't even realize is like youth and looking young and being youthful. A lot of people are like, that's what beauty is, like that's a direct correlation to beauty. It's not. Also, it's a little weird in my opinion. I'm not gonna go into that, but it's a little weird. There's a lot of products especially pushed for older women that like, oh, you're past your prime, you need to use this so you can be more youthful and be more beautiful, because apparently those are interconnected when they're not. I mean, maybe they are to you. I don't know. I hope not. Because I think it's weird. But there's lots of things pushed at us to be like, you need to be beautiful, you need to be pretty, you need to be young, you need to be this. None of that matters. It doesn't. It's definitely easier said than done to think that way. Do I think like this all the time? No. Of course not. I'm a human being like everyone else, and I feel not enough sometimes, or I feel not pretty sometimes. But if you make an effort to figure out what your definition of beauty is or what makes you feel beautiful, because again, like for me, I can't really define it. It's more of a feeling. I just know when I feel pretty and when I feel beautiful. If I focus on that and those moments, then it's a little bit easier to find the beauty in myself than using someone else's definition or standards and then comparing myself to those things. Those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. TLDR, cheesy TLDR. I think the smallest things can be beautiful, and that you can find beauty in the world in these very small things, and that you can find beauty in really just about anything, if not anything. The way I've just listed a bunch of different things that I find beautiful. The way that the light looks on the streets after it's just rained, like at night, and it's rained, and you can see even the smell too, but like you can see like there's just a light sheen on all of the roads as you're driving or walking along the street, and the way that the light kind of hits, I think that's beautiful. The clouds and the sky at sunset, or even just like the big fluffy clouds, or even the like thin, like I think they're called cirrus clouds. Cirrus clouds? Those can be beautiful. The way someone cries, the way someone laughs, you can find beauty in that. How you feel when you're biting into like a cookie fresh out of the oven, you can find beauty in that moment. The smell of your grandma's perfume, like you can find beauty in that. Comfort and love in that. When you hear like welcome home, when you come home after like a long day of work, like for me and my mom will say okaini when I'm home, and I'll say tadaima like I'm home. It's like a Japanese thing that we decided to implement into our lives, and it's nice. It's like a really nice feeling, and I find beauty in that moment too. All of these things and more can be beautiful. The way that the light hits someone's eye and makes it a certain color, the like twinkle in someone's eye, like the tiniest things. You can find the tiniest things beautiful around you. Like anything can be beautiful. If you feel it and you think it, then it's beautiful. And that's cool. Of course, not harm for anyone. Though that's always my rule is anything's cool as long as no one's getting harmed. You or others. Keep that in mind. But you can really find beauty in almost anything. I think to me right now, beauty is important, but it's not number one. I like feeling pretty. I like feeling beautiful. I don't need products or clothes. I don't need things to make me feel that way, I can just find it. Do they help? Sure. I like how I look with some makeup and like certain lip colors, or when I do my blush a certain way or use highlighter. I like putting, like, I'm someone who almost never leaves the house. Like, if I'm doing makeup, I don't really leave the house without a little glitter somewhere on my eyes usually. Because I like glitter. I think it's pretty and it makes me feel pretty. Do I need it to feel pretty? No. Does it add? Yes. So I'm not going to say like I'm not a victim to propaganda and that kind of a thing. But I also don't need it to feel beautiful. It's not so important that I need all these other external things so that I feel beautiful. Do I feel like that all the time? No. Of course not. Do I feel like that more of the time than I don't feel like that? Yes. But it's taken me a really long time to get there. Will I find any of this important 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now? I don't know. I don't know if beauty will be important to me then. But for now, it's a little important. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, I still haven't done a ton of research on this, so maybe there is something wrong with it. I don't know. These are just my thoughts for now. But I think if you find beauty important to you, and it's not harmful more than it is helpful, you should find ease in finding the beauty around you, find ease in finding the beauty in yourself. And I think if you can find beauty in any small thing, that your whole life might become a little bit richer, a little bit more beautiful, and a little more fun and vibrant. If that's what you want. If that's what you want. You don't have to, but if beauty is something that you'd like to have in your life and something you'd like to highlight in your life, finding beauty in the tiniest things, in things that in a way you don't need it, I think is important and good and okay. Yeah. Those are just my thoughts on beauty for now. Again, haven't done all the research that I'd like to, so this is just my thoughts for now. But yeah, that's kind of it. Find beauty in yourself and the little things around you. Cool. That's it. No more. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, night, week, weekend, whatever it may be for you. And I will see you next time. Love, Mikaela. Bye.